It's always fun. And this now is SFNL in the Prince Rupprecht.
I like the new captain skills overall more because it makes the hybrid builds so much more viable than they used to be. You either had to sell out for all of one thing or sell out for all of the other. It was very difficult to get a lot of what you needed for everything you wanted to do. And now you can get so much more. And that all these captain skills and the way they activate, the way they're used, I just think that there are still some iffy things, but I think this commander skills today are considerably better than they were a year and a half ago.
It took a while to get there.
I mean,
Yes.
it's going to. I mean, in any game where you have to have constant updates, quality of life changes as power creep and player base changes, ships change. It's going to take time to build into that. The thing is though, they managed to do it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a mark in their favor. And I don't really give Wargaming a whole lot of kudos, but I think they did a decent job here.
Well, a lot of people are still going to complain about the 21-point captain issue.
The reality is you're never going to be able to, to placate and make happy all the people all the time. You have to do
Right.
the best you can to make as many people as happy as you can get them while still remaining true to the goal you have in mind. And I think they did that here.
So this is the tier 9 of the new line. Now, I don't know about you guys. I'm actually not purposely trying to work my way up the line. As a matter of fact, I think I have enough tokens to unlock the tier 3 right now. And I already have the tier 4 unlocked via Amazon Prime whatever giveaway. So, like, this is the first line in a while. I think I'm just going to take my time and just actually grind up and enjoy it.
Yeah, I got the Derflinger, and I got them all.
It's a tier 5.
Yeah, it's actually it's not as good in some ways as I expected it to be, but in all honesty, in some ways it's significantly better than I expected it to be. So, like, its speed is lacking, I think, compared to the tier 3 and 4. But its gunnery accuracy is actually better, and its secondaries are actually fairly effective. Remember, it's a tier 5, so it's going to see a lot of tier 3 and 4.
Oh,
tier 6,
well,
it's going to have a...
It won't see any tier 3s, it'll see tier 4s, yes.
But these days, with all the failed divisions, it can still do it.
Well,
But I mean,
But it normally won't.
yeah, exactly.
It has the capability with its secondaries to do more damage than I thought it was going to, so I thought that was a good thing.
Now, I do agree that SF is turning out here. I like the idea that he's ensuring he doesn't get blapped by a Georgia and a Musashi, both of which, I mean, look at you, like food, so that's good. And I love, for those of you guys who don't know, SF used to be a big-time scroller, and he's changed a lot of that, and you guys can see that here. And I think as a result, he's much quicker in reacting to the enemy and lining up shots and stuff like that.
Well,
I think... Go ahead,
SF learning how to transition from scroll to zoom is basically just unlocked his true potential. We saw that in a Vermont game a couple of weeks back.
That's very true. That's very true. And of course, he is a member of 07, and I'm sure that playing with players of that caliber have also helped him improve his game.
I think honestly, the biggest difference between scrolling and using, shift or another key to instantly zoom in and out is situational awareness. If you're constantly scrolling, you don't have the situational awareness that everybody else has. I mean, that's just how it is. Situational awareness is a huge part of this game.
I like that rating. Friends don't let friends scroll aim. Lol. Oh, Yagumo was spotted. Nice.
He's not wrong.
Yes, I did do a Vermont game several weeks ago. I thought I'd already released it, but maybe it's coming up. King of the Sea really screwed up all of that kind of stuff, because I figured people didn't want to wait 2 weeks to watch the games, so I, bumped a lot of that stuff up for release, and as a result, everything else I had done got really messed up, so...
did not expect the Alaska to take that much damage. Those shells are more effective than I thought they'd be.
Well, the Alaska is interesting in that if you can hit it in the right spot, it'll do a lot of damage just from regular penetrations. You don't have to do a citadel. You're amazed Vermont hasn't shown up in Kingdom this City.
He was
agree.
fairly angled. I mean, that was almost 15k salvo
Mm-hmm.
at that range. So that's pretty impressive.
Because again, the Alaska is a super cruiser, and it has a good amount of cruiser armor. So a lot of good opportunities for your shells to penetrate that cruiser armor and just, you know, do some overpen or regular pen damage.
Does Rupprecht have the same as Schlieffen guns as Schlieffen, or are they lower caliber?
406.
406.
Schlieffen has
Schlieffen is
420.
420s.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's been a while since I've looked at that information. There's so much stuff out there, it's hard to keep track of everything.
Well, they've dropped a lot of ships over the last couple of years. It's been fairly ship intensive compared
It's
to
been
previous
more
years.
and more difficult as a CC to be able to keep all of that stuff straight. It really has. Aw, you're reporting people. You're not happy with some people? You're not happy with
Also
a lot of
not-
people.
When did they say that the replacement for First and Haberos were supposed to be out?
I thought. Let me go check the dev block for that. It won't be for a while. That's for certain.
That's another example of something that I'm quite frankly not sure about. I just remember they said it's going to happen. So thanks, SAT.
I think I was hearing early 2022, but that, I mean, I guess into January.
2022 says Purdue.
It just seems.
2022. So basically, not very specific.
Yeah.
Yep. Reporting
Yeah,
people is just spending extra compliments when you run out of your daily compliments. Okay.
I agree with it.
All this Yugumo's coming out. Smack him, smack him, smack him, smack him. Smack him. Secondaries on him too. Secondaries on him too. What are you waiting for? Secondaries on him. You're taking way too... What are you doing? Okay.
I think he forgot to just lock on to Yugumo.
He forgot to lock on, yep. So your Musashi got all of those hits instead. That's okay. Yes,
It's
I am
not like
Instant Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's not like Zaf needs, like, things to point out that you need to do better. He's going to find them. It doesn't matter how well you play.
But, I mean, that's the point, right? Like, I want to make it so that people who maybe are more advanced players can still learn something from the process, right?
I would, because the game is constantly evolving, I think every player has to constantly evolve. You can't just do what you've always done, because the game changes. What you always did isn't always going to work.
I like that you noticed the Brindisi, by the way, and you're going to kill him right here. And there's nothing he can do about it. We already know he's dead. You don't have to look at him. Dead. They warned about 3 months in advance of the Moscow and Kirov, so you guess first, second... Yeah, I mean, you got time, right? So just grind the damn ship lines and get the ships, and then you'll be good.
I'm currently in the middle of regrinding both Japanese destroyer lines.
Z31. Okay, dokie. Z31.
I got the Merker out of one of those crates that I earned in game. So I
yeah?
didn't have to finish grinding at the 31, thank God.
What's the Z31 called? I don't see any replays for it.
Kinda sucks that the 150mm line doesn't get good until the Schultz.
Oh, you just gave it to me. Okay, that would be why.
I thought it was interesting that the Gaida got to keep its 150s, but the Z23 did not.
I agree. I think the I think that the 150s really made the Z23 something special.
I mean, it made it significantly. I mean, having that higher caliber of guns, especially like in competitive, like, you know, tier 8 ranked, made it a lot more viable, I thought. And it's just, it's outclassed by everything.
Hey Sith Kitten, are you still there?
Of course I'm here.
Good, good. What's the current giveaway we've got? We've got... Oh, Warhammer. Okay.
Yeah,
Good. I just want to
Yeah,
make
I
sure
just
we're giving
pulled one a
something
few
away.
minutes ago. Gotcha.
Sweetness. Thank
There's
you.
always a giveaway.
What were you saying,
The
SAT?
fact that you have to check that is ridiculous.
Look at the Iowa. Bye, Iowa.
I wonder when everybody has access to these, how many of these ships are going to get murdered because
Hey,
they're trying
Skyrim.
to torp.
Well, I mean, sure, but you can see what happens. Is that so? I actually SAT. I didn't understand how powerful the Z-23 was until I ran into somebody once, and I was really, frankly, upset because I couldn't do anything, and he did, and I messaged him after game. I'm like, dude, what's your secret? Like, what did you do that makes it? And what he told me was he ran IFHE. And I didn't even think about IFHE with the 150s. But
I did
IFHE
too.
with the 150s means that those 150s with HE does a ton of damage. So one of the things that I love is like you learn a lot about this game, not from yourself playing it, but you can also message players afterwards and be like, dude, WTF, how did you make it work? And I love this community because they're willing to help each other out.
For 15 months.
Harley!
HE though.
With a 2-month string. What's that, SCT?
IFHE on the Z23? How come?
Because your 150s then penetrate whatever it is for armor.
Should be 37. 37
They get
millimeters.
1/4 pen by default, so
Well,
it goes up from 37.5 to 50.
Now, granted, that conversation was before the 150s got that 1/4 HE pen. Do you
Yeah.
remember when the original line came out? It was 150 divided by 6, right?
Yep.
So that was 25 millimeter, and you multiply that by 1.25, and now you're penetrating 32 millimeter armor. So that made sense, right?
Yes, that definitely would make sense.
But, you know, now I would agree, IFHE is not necessary because you got that 1/4 HE pen. But that's the thing about this game, is it's always evolving, always changing. Speaking of evolving and changing, SFNL is down on points, up on ships, but down on caps as well.
But they're up against a GGWP div, so it's basically
Yeah.
a boss fight.
You're right. Obi-Wan
He's
Kenobi.
not wrong.
Now, I apologize to JT Liama and La Republique because I haven't seen you two in clan battles much, but Obi-Wan Kenobi, that's a destroyer player, and I know that player. I've seen him in King of the Scene competitive. I know he knows his stuff. So let's see what happens. You're right, it is absolutely a boss fight. You've got the FDG to the north, and you've got the two destroyers to the south.
Meat Pie, IFHE today, it is meant to be they tried to take out the magic I win button that it used to be. So you have to pay attention to what ship you're using it on and understand what ships it's going to be facing before you can really determine if it's a viable strategy or not. It's actually still very viable. It's just a lot more selective than it used to be.
Llama doing a good job of shooting you here, knowing that you can't really turn to angle because of that island. So that's really good positioning choice by him. Here comes your shots. Now you're going to want to turn in towards him because you know he's a big threat. Also, that gets you away from the destroyer threat too. These are the hard parts of the game. It's the parts of the game where, well, you're ahead on ships, but because of the way things are going, you've got to make sure that you don't die. Now, I don't like the turn back in, but it's going to help you to dodge these torpedoes.
I think it was a good idea. He knows that the FDG is isolated, so he needs to. He basically needs to fight one or the other. And
Oh,
with his
Desta, okay.
Hydra up, he can deal with the new Tsushimi right here.
Right. Desta, do you want me to ignore your replay then for the Van Helsing? If so, that's fine. You're going to lose your Fletcher, though.
That's okay. Sacrifices are necessary.
What he said. Something that clearly Zath buys into.
I like that
Bring
you...
in the
Well,
sacrifice.
yes. I like that you kept shooting until he died. That's important. A lot of players don't do that. They think, oh, my secondaries will get him, and they'll look at something else.
Yep.
That's why I don't complain about people who steal kills. They're
No.
not dead until they're dead.
No. Stealing a kill means I win? Why am I complaining about winning?
I mean, that's, you mean, if you really, if you're determined that you need kills for something, go to co-op. If you're in PvP, just get the thing dead.
Right. Okay,
You
no
stole
problem.
My kill. My PR's going down. GG.
We'll ignore the Van Helsing. That's fine. I have a feeling we won't even get to it anyways with priority replays, but hey. Thanks, Desta. 6 minutes to go in our Stream Raiders, as Llama is now kind of stuck. Quite low. He's got an Alaska bearing down on him. I'm pretty sure he's gone. Goodbye. And now it's just the ZF6. Now you're out of Hydro, you're out of heals, you've got a couple of DCPs left, so I like the idea of going behind the island here. There's no point in running out and getting yourself killed. IFHE gets a bad rap by many higher level players. For lower level players that don't really know the armor thresholds, it's often a great skill. Well, IFHE is, for lack of a better way of saying it, you don't have to think so much, which is fine. High level players know exactly what ships they can pen.
I actually
ahead,
kind of
SCT.
disagree with that. So with IFHE, the thing with IFHE, most people will aim for the battleship superstructure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So IFHE doesn't do anything because you will pen battleship superstructure no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
If that's where your majority of your shots are going, then you just want the extra fire chance. You don't need the extra pen.
Right. So IFHE generally is better suited if you're planning on shooting cruisers, not battleships, right? Because cruiser armor, that's where you make that crucial threshold between penetrating cruiser armor or not.
That's a little bit complicated as well.
It is.
because
Well,
It's
that's
extremely
Honestly,
complicated.
for me, it's the balanced stern armor of battleships. It's enabling you to get good raw damage completely across the entire hull of the battleship. Above,
But
the citadel. So that's why I use it on some ships.
the problem with IFHE is that you're dependent on the AI aiming, and the AI will typically aim at the superstructure in the center of the ship. So what
I'm
I
not
say?
talking about secondaries. I'm talking about just regular guns.
Gotcha.
same
Okay.
here.
In that condition, absolutely right. So I do agree with DeLupus though. It does come out with your overall players' comfortability with what are they going to choose and why. So
Well, that's why I said that Wargaming made the changes it did to keep it from being such a magic I win button and making it far more selective than it used to be. But it's still very viable if you understand what it is you're doing. And so those newer players that used to get all that damage because IFHE solved all their problems, they now have to learn instead of just having everything handed to them on a plate.
SFNL was detected. He fired torpedoes. Sadly, he's going to torpedo mostly the island here. I do like the Alaska's choice to radar, but I don't understand the decision to turn as much as you have. I mean, you got the Kraken and you got the secondary kill, but I think a lot of that came down to, I mean, you were going to win it anyways, but I mean, that was a good game showcasing some of the strengths of that ship, for sure.
Yeah, that was just how much damage it can take, honestly, was really the thing. And I mean, I expect him to play well. I mean, that just comes with the territory. I was impressed at the design of the ship. It took a lot more damage than I would have expected.
So the thing is that, I mean, it's got relatively low hit points, but its armor is quite good, and I think as a result, you could see you could see what happens, right? He's able to bounce a lot of shots.
Yeah.
All right, Trolls, this is your game. We're gonna go ahead and do a 90-second ad, and we're gonna move over towards your battle. Here we go. And I'm gonna get up and hit the little boys' room. Be